To hear exclusive audiobooks not available on YouTube, visit the links in the description below. Thank you for your support. Selected Works of Mao Zedong, Volume 3. The Period of the War of Resistance Against Japan, Part 2. Section 13. Some questions concerning methods of leadership.
This decision on methods of leadership was written by Comrade Mao Zedong for the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China.
June 12, 1943. 1. There are two methods which we communists must employ in whatever work we do. One is to combine the general with the particular. The other is to combine the leadership with the masses. 2. In any task, if no general and widespread call is issued, the broad masses cannot be mobilized for action. But if persons in leading positions confine themselves to a general call, if they do not personally, in some of the organizations, go deeply and concretely into the work called for, make a breakthrough at some single point, gain experience and use this experience for guiding other units, then they will have no way of testing the correctness or of enriching the content of their general call, and there is the danger that nothing may come of it. In the rectification movement of 1942, for example, there were achievements wherever the method of combining the general call with particular and specific guidance was used, but there were no achievements wherever this method was not used. In the rectification movement of 1943, each bureau and sub-bureau of the Central Committee and each area and prefectural party committee, in addition to making a general call, a rectification plan for the whole year, must do the following things, gaining experience in the process. Select 2 or 3 units, but not too many, from the organization itself and from other organizations, schools, or army units in the vicinity. Make a thorough study of those units. Acquire a detailed knowledge of the development of the rectification movement in them, and a detailed knowledge of the political history, the ideological characteristics, the zeal in study and the strong and weak points in the work of some, again, not too many, representative members of their personnel. Furthermore, give personal guidance to those in charge to find concrete solutions for the practical problems facing those units. The leaders in every organization, school, or army unit must do likewise, as each of these has a number of subordinate units. Moreover, this is the method by which the leaders combine leading and learning. No one in a leading position is competent to give general guidance to all the units unless he derives concrete experience from particular individuals and events in particular subordinate units. This method must be promoted everywhere so that leading cadres at all levels learn to apply it. 3. Experience in the 1942 rectification movement also proves it is essential for the success of the rectification that a leading group should be formed in each unit in the course of the movement, made up of a small number of activists and with the heads of the given unit as its nucleus, and that this leading group should link itself closely with the masses taking part in the movement. However active the leading group may be, its activity will amount to fruitless effort by a handful of people unless combined with the activity of the masses. On the other hand, if the masses alone are active without a strong leading group to organize their activity properly, such activity cannot be sustained for long or carried forward in the right direction or raised to a high level. The masses in any given place are generally composed of 3 parts: the relatively active, the intermediate, and the relatively backward. The leaders must therefore be skilled in uniting the small number of active elements around the leadership, and must rely on them to raise the level of the intermediate elements and to win over the backward elements. A leading group that is genuinely united and linked with the masses can be formed only gradually in the process of mass struggle and not in isolation from it. In the process of a great struggle, the composition of the leading group in most cases should not and cannot remain entirely unchanged throughout the initial, middle, and final stages. The activists who come forward in the course of the struggle must constantly be promoted to replace those original members of the leading group who are inferior by comparison or who have degenerated. One fundamental reason why the work in many places and many organizations cannot be pushed ahead is the lack of a leading group which is united, linked with the masses, and kept constantly healthy. A school of 100 people certainly cannot be run well if it does not have a leading group of several people, or a dozen or more, which is formed in accordance with the actual circumstances and not thrown together artificially, and is composed of the most active, upright, and alert of the teachers, the other staff, and the students. In every organization, school, army unit, factory, or village, whether large or small, we should give effect to the 9th of Stalin's 12 conditions for the Bolshevization of the party, namely that on the establishment of a nucleus of leadership. The criteria for such a leading group should be the 4 which Dimitrov enumerated in his discussion of cadres policy: absolute devotion to the cause, contact with the masses, ability independently to find one's bearings, and observance of discipline. Whether in carrying out the central tasks, war, production, education, including rectification, or in checking up on work, examining the cadres' histories, or in other activities, it is necessary to adopt the method of linking the leading group with the masses, in addition to that of linking the general call with particular guidance. 4. In all the practical work of our party, all correct leadership is necessarily from the masses to the masses. This means, take the ideas of the masses, scattered and unsystematic ideas, and concentrate them. Through study, turn them into concentrated and systematic ideas. Then go to the masses and propagate and explain these ideas until the masses embrace them as their own. Hold fast to them and translate them into action, and test the correctness of these ideas in such action. Then once again, concentrate ideas from the masses, and once again, go to the masses so that the ideas are persevered in and carried through, and so on, over and over again, in an endless spiral, with the ideas becoming more correct, more vital and richer each time. Such is the Marxist theory of knowledge. 5. The concept of a correct relationship between the leading group and the masses in an organization or in a struggle. The concept that correct ideas on the part of the leadership can only be from the masses to the masses, and the concept that the general call must be combined with particular guidance when the leadership's ideas are being put into practice. These concepts must be propagated everywhere during the present rectification movement in order to correct the mistaken viewpoints among our cadres on these questions. Many comrades do not see the importance of, or are not good at, drawing together the activists to form a nucleus of leadership, and they do not see the importance of, or are not good at, linking this nucleus of leadership closely with the masses, and so their leadership becomes bureaucratic and divorced from the masses. Many comrades do not see the importance of, or are not good at, summing up the experience of mass struggles, but fancying themselves clever, are fond of voicing their subjectivist ideas, and so their ideas become empty and impractical. Many comrades rest content with making a general call with regard to a task, and do not see the importance of, or are not good at, following it up immediately with particular and concrete guidance, and so their call remains on their lips, or on paper, or in the conference room, and their leadership becomes bureaucratic. In the present rectification movement, we must correct these defects and learn to use the methods of combining the leadership with the masses and the general with the particular in our study, in the checkup on work, and in the examination of cadres' histories. And we must also apply these methods in all our future work. 6. Take the ideas of the masses and concentrate them. Then go to the masses. Persevere in the ideas and carry them through, so as to form correct ideas of leadership. Such is the basic method of leadership. In the process of concentrating ideas and persevering in them, it is necessary to use the method of combining the general call with particular guidance, and this is a component part of the basic method. Formulate general ideas, general calls, out of the particular guidance given in a number of cases, and put them to the test in many different units, not only doing so yourself, but by telling others to do the same. Then concentrate the new experience, sum it up, and draw up new directives for the guidance of the masses generally. Comrades should do this in the present rectification movement, and also in every other kind of work. Better leadership comes with greater skill in doing this. 7. In relaying to subordinate units any task, whether it concerns the Revolutionary War, production, or education, the rectification movement, check-up on work, or the examination of cadres' histories, propaganda work, organizational work, or anti-espionage, or other work, a higher organization and its departments should in all cases go through the leader of the lower organization concerned so that he may assume responsibility. In this way, both division of labor and unified centralized leadership are achieved. A department at a higher level should not go solely to its counterpart at the lower level. For instance, a higher department concerned with organization, propaganda, or anti-espionage should not go solely to the corresponding department at the lower level, leaving the person in overall charge of the lower organization, such as the secretary, the chairman, the director, or the school principal, in ignorance or without responsibility. Both the person in overall charge and the person with specific responsibility should be informed and given responsibility. This centralized method, combining division of labor with unified leadership, makes it possible, through the person with overall responsibility, to mobilize a large number of cadres, on occasion even an organization's entire personnel, to carry out a particular task, and thus to overcome shortages of cadres in individual departments and turn a good number of people into active cadres for the work in hand. This, too, is a way of combining the leadership with the masses. Take, for instance, the examining of cadres' histories. If the job is done in isolation, if it is done only by the few people in the organization department in charge of such work, it certainly cannot be done well. But if it is done through the administrative head of a particular organization or school, who mobilizes many or even all of his staff, or many or even all of his students, to take part in the work, while at the same time the leading members of the organization department at the higher level give correct guidance, applying the principle of linking the leadership with the masses, then undoubtedly the task of examining the cadres' histories will be satisfactorily accomplished. 8. In any given place, there cannot be a number of central tasks at the same time. At any one time, there can be only one central task, supplemented by other tasks of a second or third order of importance. Consequently, the person with overall responsibility in the locality must take into account the history and circumstances of the struggle there and put the different tasks in their proper order. He should not act upon each instruction as it comes from the higher organization without any planning of his own, and thereby create a multitude of central tasks and a state of confusion and disorder. Nor should a higher organization simultaneously assign many tasks to a lower organization without indicating their relative importance and urgency, or without specifying which is central, for that will lead to confusion in the steps to be taken by the lower organizations in their work, and thus no definite results will be achieved. It is part of the art of leadership to take the whole situation into account and plan accordingly in the light of the historical conditions and existing circumstances of each locality, decide correctly on the center of gravity and the sequence of the work for each period, steadfastly carry through the decision, and make sure that definite results are achieved. This is also a problem of method of leadership, and care must be taken to solve it when applying the principles of combining the leadership with the masses and the general with the particular. 9. Details concerning methods of leadership are not dealt with here. It is hoped that comrades in all localities will themselves do some hard thinking and give full play to their own creativeness on the basis of the principles here set forth. The harder the struggle, the greater the need for communists to link their leadership closely with the demands of the vast masses and to combine general calls closely with particular guidance so as to smash the subjectivist and bureaucratic methods of leadership completely. All the leading comrades of our party must at all times counterpose scientific, Marxist methods of leadership to subjectivist, bureaucratic methods of leadership and use the former to overcome the latter. Subjectivists and bureaucrats do not understand the principles of combining the leadership with the masses and the general with the particular. They greatly impede the development of the work of the party. To combat subjectivist and bureaucratic methods of leadership, we must promote scientific, Marxist methods of leadership, both extensively and intensively. End of section 13.